It's about time you fed yourself. Get ready for weekly wisdom. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of Weekly Wisdom. Yes. So, as you saw at the beginning, I said it's about time you feed yourself. So, what does that mean? Well, the topic for this week is, are you hungry? So, I've been really thinking about this year that during these times we have been in, that there's been a lot of reasons we put out there about why we're not able to do something. But really right now, I want you to ask yourself the question of, how hungry are you for it? Because when you are hungry for something, you're gonna go after it. So for example, I love me cupcakes here. Like, let's see here, these lovely cupcakes right here. This Oreo blue velvet, this, red velvet cupcake right here. And I was hungry for them. And so when my friends, my people out at Big Boy Bakery, shout out to y'all, they was having a pop-up sale. And I just decided I was gonna go and, get me what I was hungry for, cupcakes. And so, man, that blue velvet is on fire. But this red velvet, hits the spot. And so, I was hungry for it. And so I went to go get it when I saw they was having a pop-up sale. Same thing with these weekly wisdom videos. I was hungry for, wanting to make an impact and be a difference. And so I started to put these out there. I went after it. And so, we are in the month of September, and there are some things that we put on our goals list at the start of 2020 that we were hungry for. At the end of 2019, we were like, I'm going to go after this. I'm going to keep doing this. In our mind, we were like, yeah. But when it's come down to it and how we can execute, we have not been doing what we need to do. So what I really want us to think about is how do we begin to, take advantage of these last few weeks that we have here? So I want to give us some tips here. So let's just start with October 1st. Let's take these next couple weeks and plan and start with October 1st. And let's do this thing called a 90-day burnout. Like, really plan for how in these last, start with October 1st, like those last about 90 days, how can you get to the next step of achieving that big goal that you have wanted to achieve? For me, I will say one of those things is I want to put out a podcast and start it out this year. And so the name of it is Vulnerability Leads to Victory. It is really going to be me and some, friends I know that are willing to tell their vulnerability story and kind of define what vulnerability is for them and what that's looked like for them over their lives and how that's been impactful for them. So I know for me that I've started some stuff. I've talked to some friends who, had podcasts. I've been on a podcast. And so through those things, I've gotten a feel. I've listened to podcasts. And so I've gotten a feel for how, my podcast can look. I've jotted down notes. I've even got a graphic for it. But what I really need to do is just sit down and, really focus on what does this podcast look like, as it's going to begin. And so for me, my 90-day burnout is going to include getting out my first 3 to 5 episodes. Again, I'm saying this because I want you all to hold me accountable, is my first 3 to 5 episodes of my Vulnerability Leads to Victory podcast. And so that's one thing I was hungry for. Another thing I was hungry for this year was that really looking at my health, and I really was focused on that. And so I told everybody that, come December 31st, I want to be 300 pounds or less. The last time I only weigh myself monthly when I go to the doctor, and I was 342 pounds at that time. And so again, that was back at the, end August, beginning of September. So that's the goal. The next goal is the ultimate goal rather is that by December 31st, I am 300 pounds or less. And so I'm hungry, for going to the gym. I'm hungry for, eating right, what that means for me. I'm hungry for getting the nutrients in my system that I need, and so what are you hungry for? Only you can define that. And so don't just sit back. And so I'm not saying don't rest up, don't really, take some time for yourself. What I'm really saying is that, I'm tired of us getting to the end of one year and looking forward to the next year in ways where we know there are things we could have done to boost ourselves. Now, I know some of us have gone through some serious things this year that have impacted us, that have affected us in a way, and even possibly have even affected some of those goals we had. But what I don't want you to think about is that you couldn't have started something during this time. I started, these weekly wisdom videos during a pandemic. I've been keeping my health up during a time where, we've been in this pandemic, gyms were closed. I was hospitalized for some time, where I've had to think about, what is these next steps in life, where my, wife and I, suffered another, miscarriage back in May, and I've been through some things, but my hunger is what pushed me forward. When you're hungry, you're going to go get something to eat. Don't matter if it's, something on the way home from work, if it's, going to the grocery store and getting something from, the deli, shout out, like when I go, give me that chicken tender sub on the spinach wrap. And so I want us to understand, when we get hungry, we're going to go after that food when we are literally hungry. So why not be going after the thing that you are metaphorically hungry for, that's going to take you to the next goals in life? This company, again, Big Boy Bakery, I heard about them in the midst of this pandemic. And trust me, people that know me know I love some sweets and know I love some red velvet cake. So if I had heard about this red velvet cake before, cupcake or cake, and before this pandemic hit, really here in Florida in March, trust me, I'd have been pumping it up to everybody via social media before then. But it wasn't until, after things started to shut down, after, things started to happen. And that's when I saw this, and I was able to understand, even through, seeing something like a bakery, kind of start themselves going, is really, you don't need to limit yourself to time and space right now. Really take the time to think as if there is no box right now. Don't sell yourself short on your own dreams, but truly push yourself to get to that next level. So again, take the time after this video and ask yourself, what am I hungry for? And how am I going to feed myself? How am I going to feed the people? Because there's some people out there that are hungry and they're looking for you to feed them with that next great idea that you have. So don't take the time to wallow in the world we're in right now. Again, take these next couple weeks plan. October 1st, let's all get together and do a 90-day burnout. And I want to see us really maximize that time and end this year and start off 2021 in an even greater way, where we have all the ideas out there and we're going to make a difference for these folks. Alrighty, peace and blessings.